podcast, I love to share with you things that I'm currently doing in my business and things that I think can help you in your business. So this week we're going to be talking about website updates. Now, we have an existing website for F&D, which is my insurance brokerage firm, but there is currently almost nothing on it. And that was strategic because of the oversight that I am as a registered financial person. So what that means is that anything that I post on my website has to be overseen by several different entities, my broker dealer, FINRA, all sorts of people that have oversight on that website. So it can oftentimes be very complicated making sure that I'm abiding by all the rules. And like any rule, they change often. So we have not done any updates to the website because it just was an overwhelming project. But that has changed. We have gone through and made lots of updates. And though they are not live yet, they are coming soon. So I wanted to share with you some things that we worked on that I really think could make a difference in your website. So the first thing that I think is really important, and sometimes we as website creators can lose track of, is that the website is not about us, the creator. It is about the problem that we solve. People are purchasing things from us because they have a problem and need to purchase the solution. By making that crystal clear for people, it makes so much easier that decision-making process and leads to people buying more. I always say that if you force people to burn calories, they will not buy your thing because there is so much going on online these days that if your competitor has a much clearer, easy to use website, people will automatically go to that because we all need simple things these days. We don't need things that are overcomplicated, especially when you're talking about something like financial services that can be so confusing for people. You don't want to make your website or your appointment scheduling process even more confusing because people won't do it. You want to make sure that the images that you're using on your website build trust with your clients. Like I mentioned before, people are looking for a problem to be solved. You want to make sure that those images reflect that. And if you don't have all the current images that you need, it's okay to put a stock image up there, but just know that those need to be swapped out for images of you. We use this on my current website. We needed some additional speaking images. We didn't have enough for our Scale Your Small Business website. So we put stock images up, but we know that as things get back to being in person and those speaking events start to increase, we can just swap those images out with images of myself on stage or videos that we take during those events. Just know that a website is a living, breathing entity. It's not a set it and forget it. You will always be updating it. And that can make a huge difference when you know that going into it, because change happens all the time. One thing that we really focused on with F&D's website was marketing to our individual clients as well as our business clients. So making sure that that first page was directed towards what kind of client are you? They're able to click a button, which takes them down a client journey that is very much appropriate for the type of client that they are. So if someone's looking for individual products, they go down a completely different route than they would go if they're one of our business clients. We want to make things as simple as possible because any sort of financial services or health insurance can often feel like a circus. There's so much information out there. There's so much information provided by people who are not licensed versus people who are licensed. It's a lot. So we want to make sure that being able to show people how easy it is to work with you starts at your website. Don't overcomplicate things. Like I mentioned before, you don't want any of this process to be overcomplicated because people will just click off and move on to your competitor. One thing that we focused on as well is making sure that our top navigation bar was easy to understand and things were grouped together the way they should be. If someone has a question, I want to make sure that they can just click in one spot and a dialog box pops up where we can chit chat. Or if they are interested in something specific, that they can go to that top bar, get what they need, or even scroll all the way to the bottom if they're like, I just need to get on the phone with somebody and I don't want to schedule an appointment. I just want to call a phone number. I mean, how many of you have ever looked at someone's website signature line or email signature line rather, and there's no phone number, there's no website, and there's no email address? Making sure that your customers can communicate with you easily is a huge step in the right direction, and one that we've invested a lot of time and energy in making it easy for people to find those links so they can get their questions answered. One thing that I talked back and forth quite a bit with my team was about pop-ups. How long should the pop-up come up? Should we even use one? And I think it's something that when you visit a website, especially news media websites, does it annoy you when you click on a link because you want to read an article, and before you can even get through the first line of the article, boom, there's a pop-up. They want you to subscribe. They want you to do something. If you find that annoying, don't do it on your own website. So we made the decision that we're only going to use a pop-up if someone starts to move to close out the website, because they might be frustrated. They might not be able to find what they're looking for, and having that pop up and say, hey, what can we help you with? What do you need that we can assist you with? I feel is going to make a huge difference in our business, making sure, again, that people get their questions answered when they need help right away. Another big thing that you can add to your website is testimonials. Now, keep in mind that yes, you are selling something, so you want to provide people's feedback of how they felt after they purchased your product, what that product did for them, what did it solve for them. These testimonials will allow you to paint a picture for the viewer of your website and your potential client of what they can expect, how they will feel at the end of the transaction. It's really about the transformation that they will undergo when they use your product or service. I think things can get really serious when we talk about website updates. We can tend to overthink it. We can make websites so complicated that you look at it and you're like, holy smokes, I don't even want to be on my own website. So make sure too that when you have your mockup created, that you get feedback on it, preferably from strangers. I know that we have gone through many iterations of website design, making sure that it's easy to understand what we provide and what we can help with. And there is nothing better than a stranger's feedback. So whether you get that stranger's feedback in a mastermind group, you put it out there to a Facebook group, wherever you can get that feedback from, it's so important. I know our first website looks completely different from what it does now because we took that feedback and we realized we weren't clear on what we offered. Making sure that people understood that created a completely different website, and one that is the best it's ever been. But knowing that we're going to continue to evolve and change and add things as they become necessary, because again, that website is a living, breathing entity, and we look at it as an extension of our social media. So any planning that we're doing in regards to social media, the podcast, our website, those are all encompassing, because sometimes websites get lost, they get forgotten. I know mine purposely is not great, but we are looking to change that. If it's not something that you have visited recently, you should look at yours and see what improvements you can make as well.